What up? What up? Just waiting for people to pop in. Peace. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Five Playland. As always, I am Sir Five Player of Brooklyn. On my channel, Behold. With that, I haven't been on for a little minute, but I wanted to talk about some of these world events that are happening, namely what went down over the weekend with Trump, America arresting Maduro. If you guys don't know or live under a rock, the president of Venezuela has been arrested. He is currently incarcerated in my old neighborhood, my own stomping grounds, in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, in the correctional facility. And he's being shuttled to court cases within New York City. And wanted to talk about that. I actually was on another fine channel called The Boxing Scholar, and I was discussing this very topic in the aftermath of the Maduro arrest. Um, the panel and were not very favorable to the to Trump as a general principle, but I'm not. I don't have many politicians I like, but I do agree with a lot of what Trump has been doing. I make sure my chat's on. I have been in the past favorable of a lot of the maneuvers that Trump has done, and this is actually one of them. You know, whether that be Democrats such as Joe Biden in the past administration, they labeled Maduro as a bad actor in the political world internationally. I heard earlier that the Biden administration actually put a bounty on Nicolas Maduro while he was in office of $25 million. And there's several congressmen, Chuck Schumer, and others as well, Democrats, who have talked bad about Nicolas Maduro and his presidency in the past. And, you know, not limited to saying that Juan Guaido, like the guy who ran against Maduro, actually won the election and he should be the president. And this is from both sides of the political field. But again, I mean, like this country and the world is very tribalized. It's either you like Trump or don't like Trump. And if you don't like Trump, there seems to be an impetus to really be vociferous and in the negative as to anything that Trump does. You just don't like it. Like, you know, you have shit liberals right now that are having demonstrations for Maduro to be freed from his capture, similar to how they were doing with the MS-13 gang member from Maryland, if I remember correctly. The Maryland father, forgot his name. But whatever, so long as Trump puts some sort of impetus on a political issue, you know, a lot of people, and it's not just shit liberals, just honestly, Trump people that are haters of Trump will make it a point to all of a sudden become immediate experts on that particular subject and be just angry at the fact that, you know, Trump did anything. So they now are opposing the move that Trump has just did, and this Nicolas Maduro issue is within that same vein. A lot of people. I mean, I've been very candid in the past. Like a lot of the migrants that entered into America during the Joe Biden administration happened to be from the country of Venezuela, and Trump's actually made a mention of that as well. That Venezuela opened their prisons and they're sent in not only their prisoners into America, but people from their mental institutions. And I've seen that firsthand. I go into New York almost every week, and I've seen a load of newcomers, namely Venezuelan men, that entered into New York City during the Joe Biden administration. People will attribute the blame of that, again, like liberal defenders will attribute the Texas governor for busing them into New York City during the Biden administration, which is something that was happening under Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. He was sending in migrants from Texas, which is a border state, to Mexico, and sending them up to sanctuary cities like New York City. But again, I mean, if I'm the governor of Texas, and and I had a choice of either A, keeping a bunch of unvetted criminals in my state, or B, shipping them off to a virtue signaling state like my home state of New York City, of New York City particularly, I'm going to send them to New York City without a doubt. Why should I have to suffer through it? If the federal policy is to allow an open border, and that open border is flooding immigrants into my state where I don't want them, then I'll send them to the people who virtue signal that they do want them. But moving on from that, I think that it can't be we can't dismiss the notion that Nicolas Maduro didn't purposely send a lot of these unwanted people from his country into the US, particularly since now we could all admit the fact that Biden was in a comatose state throughout his presidency and even before his presidency. And even shit liberals are now admitting to that. During the Joe Biden presidency, if you said that Joe Biden was mentally defunct for at least the first 75% of his presidency, they would call you a conspiracy theorist until Joe Biden goofed on the debate stage and had brain farts to where they finally had to concede to the notion that Joe Biden wasn't there mentally. But I'm not sure I can't dismiss the notion neither that Joe Biden had some sort of maybe agreement, or the people that were handling Joe Biden, that they would allow this large population into America. And like, why is that happening? I have some suspicions, but again, they would sound, like, or I had not, I have some possibilities that I work out in my own brain as to like why this largely Venezuelan population entered into America during the Joe Biden presidency. I mean, it still baffles my mind, to be frank. I mean, the Joe Biden presidency is something that a lot of liberals want to kind of like act like it didn't happen, like and we just got to suffer the byproducts of it. What when we try to, here in America, deport immigrant that came in under the Joe Biden presidency, they want you to go through this rigmarole of giving these people like a whole judicial process, and as if this large contingent of people, probably 10% of our American population that entered into America under the Joe Biden presidency, is not this really far out anomaly phenomenon that happened, like it something that wasn't being covered in the mainstream media much, if at all. The fact that the border was wide open, this was a story that would get little traction in the mainstream media. They were really harping on the fact that of any negative Donald Trump story during the Joe Biden presidency, rather than illustrating the fact that Joe Biden was not a good president during the time of his presidency. The mainstream media was basically trying to cover up for Joe Biden's mental lack of acuity, and for many of the policies that Joe Biden was putting into place that were raising the prices, that were raising the prices of groceries and causing inflation to rise, the rise of real estate prices. All these things were happening under Joe Biden, and I see a lot of people riff about those things a lot more now in the Trump presidency than they did while it was at its worst under the Joe Biden presidency. But again, I mean, I go back to my original point that you have a lot of people that are tribalized, and the worst of the tribalized people are the faction that have severe TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome, which is a real thing. Trump derangement syndrome people, I mean, have cognitive dissonance issues. They really can't look at things with any sort of perspective. It's basically their only barometer is just the fact that they don't like Trump, and that's it. And I mean, I'm from New York City. I have most of my friends politically, especially prior to 2023, 2024, were TDS sufferers themselves, mainstream media consumers. And I've navigated these waters in the past. I mean, I've come to the point at times where, like, politically, I don't even like to get into conversations with people, like, because, people will want to knock your head off, like, if you don't agree with them in saying that Trump's just this evil person. It's just how it is. I mean, I don't try to convince people otherwise. But um, I still have a lot of questions of what Maduro was up to during the Biden presidency. I mean, he took full advantage of the fact that Biden was asleep at the wheel, sent a large population of criminals into America. I mean, that can't be debated with somebody like myself who's from New York City. I see the quality of people that entered into the country during that time, and a lot of them are military age men. They're not working, or they weren't working. A lot of them, most of them, were up to no good, and I could smell a criminal when I see one. I mean, and most of them are deranged looking criminal types. Nevertheless, I mean, we were all woken up this weekend to the news that Nicolas Maduro had been toppled. There was a military action in the dead of night. He was arrested, and somehow he ended up in New York. Also, somehow there were no American troops that were killed in the process, which is something I think everybody could be very happy about. And now he's facing the justice system in America. And I mean, the first year of Trump's presidency, as somebody personally who wanted to see a lot of justice, myself, in the people that went after Trump unfairly with a lot of these political persecutions that he went through, the raid of Mar-a-Lago. Hey, Jaden Edwards, how you doing? Thanks for coming through too. Um, I wanted to see kind of a little bit of a get back, a little bit of a revenge tour, and a lot of what Trump has done in his first year as the president has been very um, of not much substance. It almost seems like as if he's set himself up to really do a lot of what he wants to do in 2026, his second year as the president in this second term of his presidency. And for him to start the year off with the arrest of Maduro, I mean, I could see some heads rolling in a major way. I mean, I mean, Trump has accused Nicolas Maduro of operating or being the head of the Cartel de los Soles, which is the cartels of the suns. And it's, according to the Trump administration, a drug cartel that has been operating out of the country of Venezuela. If you guys don't follow, I happen to be subscribed to Twitter and read Twitter, and I don't have Truth Social, which is a platform that Trump uses as like a social media platform. But on Twitter, they'll often show, or every time that Trump shares something on Truth Social, they'll share it on Twitter. So and that's not the reason or the only reason I'm subscribed to Twitter. But Trump in recent days has shared a lot of things regarding the selection of 2020 not being up to par. He's actually named agencies that operate within this country that um, screwed with that selection process, but also he shared testimony of people giving firsthand accounts of what's happened or what happened as to how Joe Biden even won the presidency. I mean, Joe Biden wasn't a popular candidate. Again, like people uh, walk around with their heads in their ass or seemingly like zombies, but and can't remember 2020, and they'll use COVID as an excuse as to why things as a blanket excuse as to why everything happened. But going back to 2020, when there was a democratic process of Kamala Harris was running against Joe Biden, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Biden, all these people were still in the field. Pete Buttigieg, and almost all of them were more popular than Joe Biden was. Joe Biden wasn't doing a lot of campaigning in the Democratic primaries, and when he was ultimately selected as the Democratic candidate, he didn't do much campaigning then. If you guys remember, Trump was actually calling him Basement Biden because a lot of his campaigns were not really happening. They were happening where he would just do like a small video somewhere. Meanwhile, Trump was having full on rallies at the same frequency as he was doing before with a lot of people in attendance, a lot of people in person. And somehow Joe Biden was able to garner the most votes of all time. Now, and again, that topic was highly, highly, highly censored on all these social media platforms. You couldn't talk about that subject. In fact, a lot of people that were talking about that subject in 2020, a lot of channels that I subscribed to on YouTube disappeared. I mean, there's a lot of those channels that are coming back onto YouTube in the last couple months, but those channels were kicked off of YouTube just for talking about that very subject. The fact that that selection in 2020 was suspicious. The fact that Joe Biden received the most votes of all time, 12 million more than Obama had received. And I remember Obama running in 2008. Obama was extremely popular. I wanted Obama to win even though I didn't vote. But I remember my homie calling me, and when Obama won, and he's not a liberal neither, and we were both real happy just based on the fact that a black man had won the presidency. I mean, I'm a minority Puerto Rican, or so-called minority. Take that back. I'm Puerto Rican from New York City. A lot of my I have roots within me that are shared with the so-called black man of America by blood. And seeing somebody that looks like a lot of my family members, like Barack Obama, win the presidency, it was a happy moment for somebody like me from the hood. And I would see Obama on almost every show, almost every no negative press that Obama had in 2008, and he received a lot of votes accordingly. But to say that Joe Biden somehow received 12 million more votes than Obama is just sheer ridiculousness. Um, and also too in the 2020 selection, you also had Donald Trump receive the second most votes of all time. The first all-time highest receiving vote getter was Joe Biden, and you can't really say that Joe Biden won the presidency simply because a lot of people hated Trump. A lot of people weren't don't even know how to vote. Let's be frank, people. Like a lot of people don't know how to fill out forms to vote. A lot of people are too despondent. Again, this is during the COVID crisis. A lot of people were probably the least motivated at this current juncture, and to have a phenomenon of receiving the most votes of all time, and that accomplishment being attributed to Joe Biden, somebody who during his campaign, even in 2020, was saying a lot of dumb shit. He was mumbling all the time, and he wasn't making himself known. He wasn't appearing anywhere. They had a campaign rally for Joe Biden where they had a bunch of pseudo celebrities started doing like a virtue signal, virtual like on for Joe Biden. I think it was done by like Oprah Winfrey or something. But it was stupid. It like it had I remember this guy named Billy Hudson or something. Is a black dude that wears dresses, but he has like a full on like light beard or goatee, and he sang a song for the campaign. Like it was just very weird, but nobody was rocking with it. And I would watch out of curiosity like the live streams of these events of Joe Biden's campaigns in 2020, and you would have maybe like 1,000 people watching it. Meanwhile, Trump would have the same rally over and over and say a lot of the same talking points over and over. But you would live stream it on even these offshoot channels, like you'd have 40,000 people watching it. You know, in spite of the fact that this is not getting pushed on TV, it has no celebrity push behind it. It's getting, a lot of bad press in the regular mainstream media, and you still had a lot of people that were fans of Trump and wanted Trump to win. I mean, let's be honest. Like the people that wanted, there's not many people that you'll run into. I didn't want Trump. I wasn't voting in 2016. And I really wasn't in tune politically that campaign because I had a lot of personal shit going on in 2016. But you won't find many people in the real world who voted for Trump in 2016 who didn't vote for him in 2020. Same thing, like you won't find a lot of people that wanted Trump to win in 2020 that all of a sudden say, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Like I'd rather vote for Joe Biden this time or Kamala Harris." Like Trump retained a lot of his voters from 2016 to 2020 and into 2024. Joe Biden, however, was always looked at. I mean, historically, if you have any political observational skills or look at things politically, like I made a hobby of, Joe Biden was always kind of like a center left politician, like somebody who was almost on the right wing of the liberal or the Democrat Party, somebody who was aligned with a lot of the racists um, of the Republican Party and said he had like some sort of kinship with them. Um, this is somebody who was known to have a large tins of either acting like racist towards Black Americans or so-called Black Americans, or even where he mentioned in the Senate that he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. This is somebody who had a lot of skeletons in his closet. But on top of that, and even if you didn't know about those skeletons, he just wasn't a candidate that had any sort of like large goodwill or a lot of juice behind. Besides the fact that he was running against Trump and the fact that at one point he was Obama's vice president, but Obama pretty much I've never seen Obama operate with Joe Biden outside of the time in which he was the president and Joe Biden was his vice president. But on top of that, too, even during the Obama presidency, they weren't ever together at all, basically, Obama and Joe Biden. So, again, now that in 2026 you have Donald Trump sharing Truth Social posts regarding the fact that the election was a little bit or highly suspicious. It's now sort of okay to talk about the topic, but There's also an interview I saw recently. I think it was done by a reporter called Laura Logan. If you guys don't remember, she was the reporter that was actually raped during the Arab Spring. I think she used to work for CBS on one of the big channels. She has big breasts. She's cute, but she has her own channel on YouTube, or she operates independently, and she interviewed two people that wrote a book. One of them was actually an ex-employee of a federal agency in America, and the other one is just a biographer. And they wrote about the fact that Venezuela was one of the people was a big reason as to why the 2020 selection was so funky, if you will. That they actually were invested in the technology that kind of skewed the selections in that year. I think it's actually called stolen. Um, I don't. I don't like saying the words on this channel. It's like to get I don't to get the thing kibosh, but the word I just said, stole, and selections, if you will. But I haven't read the book, but they gave a long interview, it was almost 2 hours, in which they talked about all this. They talked about the fact that Maduro operates this cartel, and that they had vested interest in Trump not winning that selection in 2020, and they had firsthand partook in throwing that competition between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And again, I mean, like this, I have to talk around that subject on the platform that we're speaking on now. I mean, I can't really say certain words like I would like to. Um, I damn nobody in the chat, but now you have the president of the United States kind of like circling back to the topic and letting it be known that there's people out there that feel that that whole thing was not a fair competition. And I say that to say that now, what if that is really the case? What if Maduro actually did take part in some sort of helping with throwing the selection in America? What if also he was the true um, head person of the Cartel de los Soles, as Donald Trump alleges, and that he actually works with the TDA gang, Tren de Aragua, and that this was all a big plan. Like the fact that he sent his a large population of some of the roughest Venezuelans into America, including this gang that works with him, Tren de Aragua. And this was also alleged by the people that wrote that book that Laura Logan actually interviewed. Um, and what if that bird sings now? I mean, Maduro is alive and well in American prison as we speak. And what if he gives testimony that, listen, some of that stuff that Trump is alleging is actually true, and he starts naming name and naming countries that worked with him, or naming politicians in America that worked with him. I mean, in spite of the fact that we had a wide open border, a lot of Republicans weren't sounding the alarm every day as to the crisis that this country had um, brought in by opening a border on the heels of a COVID lockdown era, or COVID, mandate era that we suffered through as Americans in 2021. You're telling me that we had to go through all these precautions, like for a disease that was unknown, but on the heels of that, or on the heels of getting over that, we allowed a large population into the country, something that we've never done before. And also, I mean, going back to Joe Biden's politics, this was nothing that Joe Biden ever alluded to. The fact that he was for open borders, or something that he was gonna do was open up the border into America. There was nothing that he ever talked about throughout his almost 50-year political career, and it's almost as if in day one, I mean, that's what exactly what happened, and a large population of men entered America from other countries, and again, you go back to the about half our population, or allowed contingent of the population of America and somewhat the world, that are constantly, downplaying anything that Trump says. But what if this is all brought out to the public, that these things actually did happen, and that this planned mass migration into America was a plan done by the president of Venezuela, in addition to Democrat bureaucrats or liberal deep state bureaucrats? Who knows? But we are entering into some really crazy times in 2026. I mean, again, I mean, not just because the fact that this popped off early in 2026, but I would have never thought that, not only would Maduro be toppled, but that he would be taken alive, and he's overnight in an American prison. And I mean, I gotta give you, whether you like Trump or not, you gotta give him props for that operation being pulled off so effortlessly. I mean, like, so painlessly. No American soldiers dead again, thank God. And Nicolas Maduro is alive and well. Um, and I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be saying something as to what happened. Or you can't. I wouldn't be surprised if he names names, and you know um, and I mean, I'm a astute political observer, but I'm not gonna say that this is something that I thought was in my bingo card for 2026, first week of 2026 at that. You know, um, Yet here we are. But I would expect some really choppy waters up ahead. I mean, in spite of the fact that Trump is the right man for the job, I don't think that it's going to be smooth sailing. You have these rogue judges that constantly try to block Trump's agenda, whether that be deporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland father, MS-13 gang member. Um, you have judges cock blocking when Trump deploys the National Guard to particular cities. If Nicolas Maduro, in addition to other things happening, or other secrets being revealed, um, but I'll just go on what is or could be a likely scenario in Nicolas Maduro testifying. Say that Nicolas Maduro testifies and says, like, listen, like, this cartel that I have been operating out of my country has been in conjunction with this large list of American politicians. I mean, it's gonna be must see TV. I mean, and it's happening almost at a perfect time. Nothing on the idiot box that I call the TV is worth watching nowadays. Um, Netflix is a bunch of woke BS nonsense. HBO, all these platforms, there's nothing there to watch. I mean, the mainstream media is essentially cooked. They play more cover up than give you information. But the movies that could be coming down the pipe are probably more entertaining than anything that any Hollywood scriptwriter could concoct. But I mean, I don't have much in the way of people in the chat and whatnot, and it kind of gets boring like talking in that fashion. I got stuff to do anyway. But I hope you guys keep your heads about you. I mean, I know it's late into the year. I mean, or it's late to say Happy New Year, but I'll wish you guys a happy and successful 2026 in the event that I don't come on in the near future. And you know, head on a swivel, and keep your heads about you. Things are gonna get really interesting in 2026. If I had to make a prediction, I'm in 36 minutes, and I'd rather not end this stream with the number 36, so I'll keep going on for another minute or so. And I don't know what's to come. I mean, like with the tariff situation too. I mean, Trump's been a lot of times they try to stop him even with tariffs, which I think would be a benefit to America. More money coming into America is a plus, positive. Um, but one thing I have seen under the second Trump administration is that the tariffs are a legitimate weapon that he uses to beat countries into submission. The tariffs aren't a constant; they change. Like I mean, like they when Canada acts up, Trump lifts the tariff. And Canada right now, I mean, like if I had to give a geopolitical prediction, Canada's screwed. Canada was one of the places that we, America, was getting crude oil from, and they were browbeating us and making it seem like they were gonna turn off the spigot to America. Trump had been signaling that he wanted to do a Canadian American pipeline for crude oil, but now Trump and America have taken over what essentially is the largest crude oil deposit in the whole world in Venezuela. So now we don't need Canada. I mean, what's Canada gonna do? Like when they lost their only customer or their best customer. I don't see Trump allowing Canada to send crude oil or anything of importance to China or nations that are competing against America. Um, I don't want to call anything that's happening like with Russia, Ukraine. I mean, like that situation, I think will fizzle itself out. But again, I mean, a lot of crazy things that I could see coming down the pipe. But with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm out. Thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland with me. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn. Thank you for coming into my new channel. Behold, peace.